Alf, if you can believe it, another threat has emerged to sports card stores all over the United States and possibly globally, and it's not exactly who you would expect. Dick's Sporting Goods recently bought the Paul Skeens debut patch 1/1 card. It's in their Pittsburgh hobby store. It's a hobby shop, a sports card collectibles store that is in Pittsburgh. But something else just made the news that you might have missed. Dick's Sporting Goods is purchasing Foot Locker for $2.4 billion. Struggling Foot Locker. What could that mean? What could the plans be for growth that they're talking about? Before we deep dive in, huge thanks to our channel partners, PSA. If you have never subbed with PSA before, friends, take $25 off your first submission. SCD25 promo code at the shipping and billing screen. Tell a friend, tell all the friends who have not submitted with PSA, take advantage and get some money off. Pristine Auction, speaking of getting money off, $25 off your first auction victory over at Pristine Auction with the SCD code. SCD is the code for $25 off. Sports cards, sports memorabilia, non-sports, pop culture items, all the cool stuff over there at Pristine. And if you consign with Pristine and you tell them the Sports Card Dad sent you, they will give you a special consignment deal as well. Take advantage, friends. All right, something is happening in the trading card space. And this is actually kind of one of those things where I'm picking a topic, I'm throwing it out into the universe, and I'm really interested in hearing from all the business-minded folks, hobbyists, what you think about this, because maybe I'm just grasping at straws with this story. But to me, this kind of reminded me a little bit of when I heard GameStop really going hard into the trading card segment. Really, GameStop now is known less for selling video games and more for Pokemon cards. Now it's a center for Pokemon cards and for grading, whether it's sports card grading or for TCG grading. GameStop has completely revolutionized their business to not just be a one-trick pony and buy, sell used video games and new games and all that sort of stuff. I think you probably see kind of the writing on the wall there where a lot of games are sold digitally. And they have clearly made a move to get into another segment, another category, and it is trading cards and trading card grading. So now enter Dick's Sporting Goods, who, I didn't see this coming at all, that they would be the buyer for that Paul Skeens 1/1 debut patch card. It was hyped up, huge hobby card that was put out. And of all the buyers, no, it's not a high net worth collector. No, it is a publicly traded company. It's Dick's Sporting Goods. And they announced the buy as part of a push more into the collectible space. And I caught a video, randomly this just hits my feed yesterday, Jab's family, I guess for him locally, he went in and saw this hobby shop that's now a part of the Dick's Sporting Goods. And to be honest, watching his video, it looks really damn good. It looks exactly what Fanatics talks about, what they want a card store to look like, a sports card store. And so I know you're probably wondering, like, what does this have to do with sports card stores? I did a video about this going back about a week ago, just talking about some of the challenges that I was hearing just for card stores, just from the TOPS conference. You know, the TOPS conference, they're talking about scorecards, and sports card stores are going to have to follow these guidelines. They're going to have to look to expand. There's going to have to be, social media presence. There's going to be scorecards as to how these hobby shops are going to be scored, and that is how allocation is going to be put out. Well, I used Card Vault by Tom Brady and Jeff Wilson talking about how he wants to have a Cards HQ in every major city in the US as examples of, okay, you're starting to see kind of the bigger stores. Doesn't necessarily have to be a bigger store, but seeing multiple stores. You're seeing one owner with many, many, many stores. I think it was one of my commenters that said it's almost kind of like fast food restaurants where you just have like the winning formula kind of in each town. And that's worked. It's worked in that arena. So, is that what we're going to see in card stores where, look, if you don't have broad ambition and aspirations to have multiple stores and to continue to reinvest, into the TOPS brand and that sort of a thing, are you going to fall by the wayside? And this to me just looks like another challenge. We've got Dick's Sporting Goods. There's about 800 stores nationwide in the US. And there are about 800 Foot Locker stores that they just purchased. So now there are 1,600 strong stores, Dick's Sporting Goods coming together with Foot Locker. Now, I wonder if they go in a different direction with Foot Locker. Maybe, hey, look, there's a lot of sneakerheads, a lot of sneaker collectors. What is it, StockX, where they buy, sell all the sneakers, all the rare sneakers and that sort of a thing? Could they do something similar in Foot Locker where they've also got collectible sneakers? Frankly, that would actually be pretty badass. If they had kind of the new release, Jordans, but then they also had kind of like, vintage sneakers or whatever kind of the sneakerheads buy, it'll be really interesting to see how they do that. Because when I think of Dick's Sporting Goods, I think of, standalone store. When I think of a Foot Locker, I think of it inside of a mall. It's right next to the Spencer Gifts. Are there still Spencer Gifts? Man, I hope so. I don't have a mall near me that we go to on a regular basis. We've got actually one mall that we go to, I feel like once or twice a year. I need to go to the mall more. But, I think of Foot Locker, Champs, that's all part of the same brand. Foot Locker and Champs and Dick's Sporting Goods, are they all going to have collectible stores? Are you going to be grading cards in a year or two at Dick's Sporting Goods? Are you going to be doing that at Foot Locker? Is PSA going to set up shop in some of these places? PSA just opened their first retail store that's going to be in Burbank Sports Cards. Shout out to Burbank over there in Southern California. Will they do that in other hobby stores, or will there be a PSA center inside of a Dick's Sporting Goods at some point? That's kind of an interesting conundrum if you're PSA too, because it's kind of a good problem to have. But if I'm PSA, I'd be thinking, you know what? That would actually be kind of cool to also have a retail store that's in a Dick's Sporting Goods, because that is a more mainstream store. There's a lot of people coming through there that aren't necessarily just card people, and you get exposure to trading cards and to grading inside of a Dick's Sporting Goods. That would be pretty interesting to see if they do that, or in a Foot Locker for that matter. Now, again, I could be getting way ahead of myself. Maybe there's not going to be a card store in all 800 Dick's Sporting Goods stores, or maybe there's not going to be a card store part of the Foot Lockers. Maybe this is something completely separate. But when I hear the Dick's Sporting Goods folks, the CEO was saying something about growth. We see a lot of growth for Foot Locker and omnichannels, different growth opportunities. Well, how is Dick's doing it? They're doing it with trading cards as part of that. That's what GameStop's doing. Could we see the same sort of a thing in Foot Locker where, when I think of Foot Locker too, I think of basketball shoes. Could there be a heavy push kind of on the basketball card side, especially when they have the licensing here coming up in Foot Locker stores? I think that would be really smart if Topps had some sort of a deal with Foot Locker to have retail product in there. And of course, that would then give mainstream folks, people that are just in there for basketball shoes, looking at trading cards. Oh, look, here's new Topps Chrome basketball cards at the counter when you go to check out with your shoes. There's all sorts of different collaboration opportunities here that I can just think of off the top of my head, but this was something in the news that just caught my attention. I don't know if you did see it, and it was that Dick's Sporting Goods buying Foot Locker. What could that mean for the hobby? Are other brands looking at this? Are Nikes and Reeboks and other kind of sports focused stores looking at trading cards as their next category of growth? The same way that GameStop did, how they pivoted over, got into cards. Nat Turner's on the board of GameStop now, bada bing, bada boom. And now all of a sudden GameStop is a big part of the trading card industry. Let me know what you think, guys. Am I reaching too far, or could you see something like this being a possibility, some of these collaborations in the next year or two? Friends, don't forget to take advantage of all the hobby discounts as we talk about in the video description, as well as the pinned comments. Save money with the promo codes. Friends, stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.